coffee with chopsticks using the Vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, coffee. Nice. Guatemalan.
Nice.
It is now 5:40 a.m. A little bit late today, so I apologize for that. Sometimes I enjoy doing live broadcasts, live daybreak shows. Sometimes I like doing it podcast style, just audio, but today I thought I'd run the video. So good morning, good to see you. Interesting things to talk about today. You know, it's not the employees that you fire that are part of the problem in your company. It's the ones that you don't fire. That is an absolute fact. And from my experience working in not only the social services arena, as well as the professional hair arena, salons and barbershops, literally the ones you don't fire seem to be the most trouble. Once you unload people, they might shit talk you for a while and then they're gone. Like, ignore them and they go away. But the ones that you hang on to, just don't be afraid to unload people if you are an employer, I should say, employer. I think the best bet is to hire contractors. That's just my opinion. And if you can have contractors versus employees, then I think that would be better. Just my opinion. I love this cartoon. This meme shows a guy like confessing to a priest. It says, "Father, all day I hear a voice telling me what to do. Am I possessed by the devil?" Priest says, "No, son, you are married." That's pretty funny. The best thing about working out super early is that you never have to wait for machines or weights, never. It's never a chat fest with the other early birds. No one's just sitting around talking. Everyone's there to get the work done. People just kind of like nod and smirk at each other. And I would say that the people that I encounter in the gym early in the morning are easily top 5%ers as far as the way they look, the way they carry themselves, the way they communicate. And most of the time when you're talking with people, it's done on the way out of the gym. A lot of people get there early. They're already caffeinated by the time they get there, which is pretty fun. And then you find out things about them. Most are self-employed business owners. Most are very successful. That is one of the things that I have found by working out early. I like the caliber of people, the type of people that I encounter when I work out early. Never burn bridges unless you absolutely have to. For the most part, every storm eventually does calm down. Most people get into trouble because of their impulsiveness. Not every situation requires amputation and extreme measures. Let a little time pass. Most stuff does work itself out. Maybe just a little time out is all the situation needs. And I will add this to it. Understand that and prosper. There's a reason why there's mother-in-law jokes. She needs to keep her nose out of your marriage and relationship, and your wife needs to stop airing your dirty laundry to her. Distance from a mother-in-law may improve or even save a marriage. Boundaries need to be set, men, and the earlier in the relationship, the better. If the mother-in-law is divorced herself or has a history of divorce, you might even have a bigger problem. So set those boundaries, men. Many of the issues that you have in life are from boundaries that were not properly kept, or actually not having any boundaries. I don't care if she helps out with the child care. Man up and get another babysitter, or do what you can to have a stay-at-home wife. Make more money because it's worth your peace, bro. Message me if that's an issue for you. What products do you really enjoy? You probably have 2 or 3 guilty pleasures or are a super fan of something. You can probably describe them like no one else. So, for those that want to be self-employed and you are fairly good at communication in written form, pitch the company to write their blog or their emails, because it's easier to pitch for something that you enjoy. That's a good start. And the pivot that I took when earlier this year is get on the health, wealth, and positive relationship train. That's what this channel is all about. Listen, my son. And I occasionally will give money-making tips. Like here's a great tip for guys that just want to have extra money. You can make an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month washing windows on the weekends, doing commercial window washing. You can equip yourself for under a couple $100 and start a business. Build up your confidence, pitch yourself face to face to business owners. Restaurants are always great customers, and most will pay you in cash. Same thing with power washing. Not a bad little thing to do part-time. What Christians believed to be true about the following prior to the 16th century is a great study. Things like the Eucharist, Holy Communion, the Mother of Jesus, baptism, salvation, works versus faith, death and resurrection of the body, the Council at Nicaea, one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Do some studies on those things, but don't study the things that were written after the 16th century. Look at the things that were written before. A lot of people think that Christianity began with Martin Luther. What happened for 1,500 years, almost 1,500 years prior to Martin Luther? Were there Christian people? Were there believers? Of course there was. Was there a church? Yes, the ancient church. So that's something to think about. Your faith did not begin in the 16th century. And that's a really huge thing for most people, most Christian people. You created a widget, gadget, service, or an info product. Cool. Congratulations. Without the ability to sell it, you're just going to be sitting on it and getting frustrated. In 2023, make it your mission to learn how to sell. Sales ability is one of the best skills you can get. There's all kinds of courses out there to do that. You can take courses in person. You can take courses online. You can watch videos. Take a sales fundamentals course. There's no downside to it. It'll help you in every area of your life. Everything has a point of no return. Everything. A straw that breaks the camel's back, a tipping point, a critical mass. Beware of all the beans on the scale. When it tips, you think, oh my God, all I did was add a bean. Wrong. It was 1,000 beans, one at a time, over a long period of time that tipped the scale. It wasn't one little action. That's the good news and the bad news. It's the sugar every day over a long period of time, the carbs every day over a long period of time, the dating women that use the hell out of you over a long period of time, making poor choices in relationships over a long period of time. Then you just think that you're disabled. You just think, I'm not really good with women. I'm not really good with marriage. And then, of course, the next level is there's no good women out there. Well, I would say before you ever go down that route, look in the mirror. What have you done to improve yourself? What have you done to improve yourself? I'm going to put it back on you. There's a lot of people that are putting it out there for women. I get that. Completely understand that. But to echo Coach EO, who a lot of you guys know, Everett Overton, his whole thing is It begins and ends with the man taking full responsibility. And that might take decades to learn, to take full responsibility for what has happened in your life and what's happening currently in your life. All right, bro acquaintance, stop trying to get her back. I'm going to bang on that drum again. Your job now is to get you back. So don't send her flowers, send yourself flowers as a symbolic gesture that you are getting you back. You know how guys do that? They buy gifts and send flowers to a woman to try to get her back. She just takes those flowers to work and gives them to people, throws them out, puts them outside. Sending her stuff after you split up does not endear you to her. She already made a decision that it's over. You're not going to win her back. Get yourself back. Send yourself flowers. I'll bang that drum to the day I die. So, save the man, not the marriage. When the man is saved, the marriage might stand a chance of survival. If not, he still gets to be productive, sane, not destructive, and society benefits all around. And I talk about stuff like this in my newsletter at georgebruno.com. Make sure you sign up for it. It's free, and it's useful, and I won't waste your time. One fella comments on one of my videos. He goes, George, I never thought I would need them, George, but your divorce videos saved my life this year. Thank you for the work you do for broken and hurting men. You are welcome. It's my pleasure. Been there, done that. Imagine if insurance companies had marriage insurance. Would you be insurable? Would your situation be considered high or low risk? Right? Think about that for a second. Excellent. The single biggest cause of disappointment is unrealistic expectations. In other words, see the world for what you're seeing the world for what you think it should be, not for what it really is. What if you had a lens in which you could actually see the truth? Many are offered that lens, but they choose to live life in a disappointed fashion because they are addicted to disappointment. They go from one disappointment to another. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, you're going to get the same results. If you view life through the same lens over and over, you're going to get the same perception. Maybe it's time to change things a little bit. I remember telling a gal once, we would make a great couple 2 days a week. She actually liked it. It's interesting. If exclusivity and fidelity can be agreed upon, that's actually not a bad plan to see each other 2 days a week. And that's kind of like a continuation of the theme of I want to make dinner with my wife, clink wine glasses, make love in front of the fireplace, and then at the end of the night go back to my house down the street. Now I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, but that is to demonstrate a point. Let there be spaces in your togetherness. Breathing down each other's backs could be a bad thing. Trusting each other regarding fidelity and faithfulness and exclusivity is job number one before you can actually do this. But I know a lot of couples who have space. They have space, and they're very successful. And I think that everyone needs to have space. Everybody does. But it takes a solid man to do that. It takes a solid man to do that, and a secure woman. Okay, after doing percolator, pour through, French press, and cowboy coffee, the Tim Hortons coffee that I had last week is the single worst cup of coffee I've ever had. I've made it with all the methods. It's horrible. I'm not even sure I would like it on a cold morning while camping. You know how, like, when you're camping and it's like chilly out, like anything hot would taste good, you know. And like, I even think that that coffee would be nasty and undesirable if I was out camping. And I still have it, and it's just gnarly, just absolutely gnarly. And like I said, I've tried all the different methods. This morning I have Guatemalan coffee. This was a gift from Thea. Made it with the French press. It was magnificent. I also got a nice gift in the mail of Ethiopian and Tanzanian pea berry, which I'll probably make cold brew out of. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Thea. Appreciate that. But there is nothing like a good cup of coffee. Give me just one good cup of coffee. Ideally two, but just give me one good cup of coffee and I'm cool. Men, what haircut should you get? This is very subjective. Conservative is usually the look of success, the conservative haircut. I point to people like David Beckham, Ryan Seacrest, Ryan Gosling, Justin Timberlake, these guys as good examples of short on the sides and back, tapered a little bit, scissor cut, textured on the top. These are, and usually a side part of some type. These styles are usually like a throwback to the era of old Hollywood and classic handsome. What about if your hair is thinning and receding? There are still conservative looks. You don't always have to buzz your head or shave your head or that kind of thing. As a matter of fact, for those that are losing their hair, I know I have receded and thinned probably more in the past 2 years than I have during my entire life. I mean, I thought I was going to be bald by the time I was 40 years old. I really did, as I started thinning and receding. And I still have most of my hair, and I've buzzed it and I've shaved it and all that stuff. But don't always think that a shaved head is the answer. It might look good on you, but try buzzing it first. Buzzing it down to like a 1 or something like that, having it tapered in the back. That's not a bad look for a lot of guys. So don't be afraid to do that. If you have a hair growth pattern similar to mine, you can't go wrong with these styles. Your grandfather probably told his barber that he wanted a regular haircut. The name, a regular haircut. Short sides and back, tapered nape in the back, a side part or sweep to the side, along with an animal fat or petroleum-based grooming product. That's probably how your grandfather did it, most likely. I saw this the other day. The guy posting a picture of him and his wife. I'm not going to say his name to embarrass the guy, but he says, I build stuff, my wife dates other guys, and we both date other guys. What the actual blank is that all about? Whew, that's some rough stuff, man. That is rough. At the market in the snack aisle with chips and nuts and this kind of stuff. And a 30-something pretty girl knocks over a display in the aisle, accidentally with her shopping cart. The 30-ish handsome dude rushes over to help her pick up all the stuff, all the spilled items, and put them back on the display. Both were squatting down and doing this, and occasionally they would look up and make eye contact, and then he would look back down. And I was right there to witness all of this. And I said, dude, this is the part where you get her phone number, And she looked up and started laughing, and then she looked at the guy and said, see, that's how it's done. Everyone laughed, and I said, good luck, guys. Merry Christmas. But look for opportunities if you're a single guy. The women aren't going to come knocking on your door. It ain't going to happen. That's if you are interested in a relationship. I know a lot of people who watch me are not interested in relationships, but relationships can either be one of the most satisfying things that you experience or one of the worst things you experience. But a lot of that depends on you. I know the state of the opposite sex is not what it used to be decades ago, but How dare I tell you to take full responsibility for yourself, right? I believe Jim Rohn said this: success has two teachers, the joy of winning and the pain of losing. Both are incredible motivators. I took a poll. I said, women don't care about your struggles. They wait at the finish line for the winners. Yes, no, and why? 74.6% said yes. 15% said no. And 10% said Nibiru. I always put Nibiru as an option, kind of like a joking option, but so people can kind of tap out of it, even though it's an anonymous poll that when I do polls on social media, that, if people want to comment down below, they can, but people can click the yes or no without fear of being identified. In my coaching, the most difficult men to work with are the post-divorce guys who say, but she's the mother of my children. Dude, she wishes you were dead. She has lied to your kids about you and tells every new boyfriend that you were narcissistic and abusive. She took off the gloves, and you're still playing nice. In my divorce and breakup recovery masterclass, I teach men to stick up for themselves. And that's a theme that you've seen me on for years now, many, many years. A woman goes to the doctor and says, those hormone pills you gave me are causing some strange side effects. My voice is deeper and I'm growing hair in places I've never had. The doctor says, like where? She replies, my testicles. I laugh at my own jokes. I think they're pretty funny. A bro acquaintance. Why would you want an ex back, an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife? Why would you want that? It's not like she went to a convent, became a nun when you broke up. That I can guarantee. It's almost, I remember one time, the only car that I ever bought new was a 1994 Honda Accord, fully loaded. It was beautiful. I loved it. And the damn thing got stolen. It got recovered by the police, Philadelphia police, but was never the same again. I mean, they took a dent puller and yanked out my ignition and all that stuff, and I had to start it with there was no damage done to the vehicle. The guy said if we didn't find it, it probably would have ended up disassembled and somewhere in Mexico being sold for parts or something like that. I'm like, oh, great. The only damage they did was yank out the ignition. And for a while there, the only way I could start it was put a screwdriver in and start it up with a screwdriver. I will tell you this. I never felt the same after the car was driven by other people. Never. It wasn't the same. And within 6 months after getting it returned, I ended up trading it in. And that's when I got the BMW convertible that I really loved. Absolutely loved that vehicle. But I will tell you, once your car has been driven by someone else who doesn't give a shit about you or your car, it's not the same. I feel the same way about a woman. Once she's been driven by someone else, I don't want her back. Why would you want her back? Like I said, it's not like she went to a convent when you guys broke up. Proverbs 31:3 says, do not give your strength to women, your ways to those who destroy kings. Let me repeat that again, bro acquaintance. Do not give your strength to women or your ways to those who destroy kings. Proverbs 31:3. In other words, no simping. And I hate that word. Oh my gosh, I hate that word. But let's just keep it real here. I took a poll on December 7th. I said, should paternity tests upon the birth of a child become law? Yes, no, and why? 80% said yes, 20% said no. Classic Pareto principle there. 20% are probably women, I would imagine. I'm guessing. Why would a guy not want a paternity test? Why would a man not want to know if a child is his? I just scratch my head. Well, let's open a gift that I got from Jacqueline Baker, daughter of Joe Baker. She sent me a box of cigars not too long ago. Sent me some chocolate from Switzerland. Sea salt dark chocolate, Belgian chocolate, 54% cocoa. All right, let's see what this is here. Oh, magnificent. A Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. How wonderful is that? Pretty darn cool. A Princess of Mars is a new world conquest turned Western, turned lost race romance, turned Indian captivity narrative, turned swashbuckler, turned eugenics parable. It's a kaleidoscope mashup to end all kaleidoscope mashups, and yet despite all this whirl of disparate influences, the damn thing holds together. Well, I can't wait to read this. Thank you, Jacqueline. Looking forward to it. Anything by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's very... his work is what I would call very masculine reading. So, the world is lacking modern masculine fiction. So I've heard some people say that the next wave of solid reading for men is going to be red pill and masculine fiction. And I agree with that. I completely agree with that. One of the reasons why I like Raw Egg Nationalist and some of the stuff that he puts out, and I'm really looking forward to the 2022 annual that's coming out. I'm looking forward to that. So if you're not following Raw Egg Nationalist on Twitter, you're really missing out on some just real solid content. You really are. A quick reminder that I do individual coaching for people. I spent over 2 decades as a professional therapist running psychiatric clinics, left that world, went into cutting hair as a trade, now cut hair part-time, a couple days a week, and doing coaching. I like to say that I help men, and I work exclusively with men. I don't work with women. I work with men via Zoom calls and in areas that I like to say in life, love, business, and career, whether it be growing a business, losing weight, divorce and breakup recovery, getting to the next level in your life, getting unstuck in those areas. So just shoot me an email if you're interested in that. It's not cheap, but neither is staying stuck in your life, because decades can go by. Decades can go by. That's something to think about. How bad do you want it? And with that, finish your coffee, and I will see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Hi, my name is Erin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am
Using the vortex method, the only true way
Jedyna prawdziwa metoda,
to optimize the taste of your coffee,
aby zoptymalizować smak twojej kawy
at the molecular level.
na poziomie molekularnym.
Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, coffee.
They mentioned fatty food and red meat. Oh, bad red meat. I cannot believe how it's like an organized attack on red meat and cows. Everything, your health issue is due to red meat, right? Incredible how they lie to people, and people believe that, and they They will have anemia, they will have other things, eating junk, eating carbs, eating wheat product, soy product. They will encounter, but they're not going to eat red meat, right? Just horrible. But remember, no red meat.
We are going to rock and roll.